Good morning, students. Welcome to today's session. Today we'll continue with the chapter The Hack Driver. We have discussed two parts, and today is the third part. So, we had discussed how the narrator and Bill Magnuson had gone to search Oliver Lutkins. They had gone to Gustav's, Gray's, Fritz, and they have also gone to pool room, but they failed to find Oliver Lutkins anywhere. Then they came to know that Oliver Lutkins have gone to his mother's farm. So both Bill Magnuson along with the narrator head towards the mother's farm so that they can serve the summon to Oliver Lutkins over there. I know Oliver's mother. She is a terror. Bill shied. Now, Bill, we know that time and again Bill is giving information about the people of New Mullion, and he has also talked about Oliver Lutkins, how Oliver Lutkins is money minded and he doesn't return anyone's money. Now he is telling us and the narrator about Oliver's mother, and he continues to say that she is a terror. Terror means she is very frightening. Bill sighed. Sighed here means take a deep breath. I took a trunk out there for her once and she almost took my skin off because I didn't treat it like a box of eggs. Now he says that we all know that Bill Magnuson is a hacker, he's a car driver, and once he tells that once he took out a trunk in his car to her farm and she almost took off his skin. Okay, she almost beat her because the hack driver or Bill Magnuson didn't treat the trunk like a box of eggs. Box of eggs means as we treat some delicate thing, he didn't treat the trunk in that manner. She is about 9 feet tall and 4 feet thick and quick as a cat, and she sure can talk. Now, Bill Magnuson goes on to give a description of the lady, that is Oliver's mother, and he says that she is 9 feet tall, she is 9 feet in height, and she is 4 feet thick. She is quick as a cat, she is a sly, she is very clever like a cat, and surely she can talk, she talks a lot. I'll bet Oliver heard that somebody chasing him and he has gone on there to hide behind his mother's skirts. Well, we'll try her. But you'd better let me do it, boy. You may be great at literature and law, but you haven't had real training in swearing. Now, Bill Magnuson further goes on to say that it is possible that Oliver Lutkins might have heard that we are after him, we are chasing him, we want to give him summon, so he has gone to his mother's farm to hide there because his mother can save him from us. So but do not worry, we'll try her also, we'll go and we'll serve the summon. And then he says that you let me do it, you don't do it by yourself, you let me do it, I'll handle the situation because you are good at literature and law, you are educated, though I'm not, but you are not good at swearing. Swearing means using offensive language or using abusive language. Now, Bill Magnuson is saying that the kind of nature Oliver's mother has, one has to have training in swearing. Okay, and I have that training in swearing, you don't have. We drove into a poor farmyard. We were faced by an enormous and cheerful old woman. My guide bravely went up to her and said, remember me, I'm Bill Magnuson, the carter and hackman. I want to find your son, Oliver. Now, Bill Magnuson goes to the farmyard. Bill Magnuson and the narrator, and there they were faced by an enormous means big, huge, and cheerful old woman. Then the driver went to her and said that, "Do you remember me? My name is Bill Magnuson. I'm the carter and I'm the hackman, and I have come here to find your son Oliver." I don't know anything about Oliver, and I don't want to, she shouted. She at once replied that I don't know anything about Oliver, I don't know where he is, I don't know about his whereabouts, and I don't want to. Now, look here, we have had just enough nonsense. This young man represents the court in the city, and we have a legal right to search all properties for this Oliver Lutkins. Now, the hackman, the carter, he says that we would not fight. We had enough nonsense. We had fight, but we had fought, but we'll not fight now because this person sitting in my cart is a man who is representing the court in the city, and we have every legal right. He has come up with a summon, and we can search your property in order to fight Oliver Lutkins. Bill made me sound very important, and the woman was impressed. She retired into the kitchen, and we followed. Now, the way Bill talked about the narrator, it seemed that the person was very important, and the woman was also impressed. That is, Oliver's mother was also impressed, and she went into the kitchen, and the narrator and the hackman they followed Oliver's mother. She seized an iron from the old fashioned stove and marched on us, shouting, "You search all you want to, if you don't mind getting burnt first." She shouted and laughed at our frightened retreat. Now she went inside the kitchen and she took out an iron rod that is used in the kitchen in the fire, and she took it out from the old fashioned stove and she ran towards them, shouting, "You can search everything if you can, but you have to be burned first. I'll beat you with this hot rod." Then she shouted and she also laughed when both of them returned. Okay, retreat means to go back. They were frightened and they went away from there. "Let's go out of here. She will murder us," Bill whispered. Outside, he said, "Did you see her smile? She was laughing at us." Now, Bill said in a slow voice to the narrator that, "Let us go out of here because she will murder us, she will beat us with this rod." And when they were out of the farmyard, Bill again said that, "Did you see her smile? She was smiling when we were running. She was laughing at us. She was being happy." I agreed that it was pretty disrespectful treatment. We did, however, search the house. Since it was only one story high, Bill went round it, searched peering in at all the windows. Now, the narrator also agreed that the kind of treatment they received by the Oliver's mother was very disrespectful because they have not gone there on their own. They had a purpose, and but he is happy that they had, however, managed to search the house because it was only one story high, and Bill had went round it, and Bear had looked in at for all the windows. We examined the barn and stable. We were reasonably certain that Lutkins was not there. They had examined the barn. Barn is a place where grains are stored, extra harvest is stored, and stable is a outhouse for animals. They have even examined the barn and stable if Oliver Lutkins was hidden there, and they were certain that Lutkins was not there. It was nearly time for me to catch the afternoon train, and Bill drove me to the station. Now it was time, and he has to go to the station, and Bill drives him to the station. On the way to the city, I worried very little over my failure to find Lutkins. I was too busy thinking about Bill Magnuson. Really, I considered returning to New Mullion to practice law. Now, when he was in the train, he was thinking, he was not worried about his failure to find Lutkins. He was busy thinking about Bill Magnuson. He was very much impressed with Bill Magnuson, his friendly nature, and he thought it will be good if he returns to New Mullion to practice law because it is a good place to practice, and the people here are also good. If I had found Bill so deep and richly human, might I now grow to love Fritz and Gustav and 100 other slow-spoken, simple, wise neighbors? Then he says that though I am an educated person, these people are rustic people, village people, but still, if I had found Bill so human, he's so friendly, he's so kind. If I can like Bill, I can surely like Fritz, Gustav, Gray, and other people of village who are slow spoken, who are simple, but they are wise. I pictured an honest and happy life beyond the strict limits of universities and law firms. Now we all know that the people we found in a city, they all are practical people, prudent people, and in a village we can find honest and happy people. So he was impressed by the kind of life, the honest and happy life that he found in New Mullion, which was very different from the strict limits of universities and law firms. I was excited. I had found a treasure. I had discovered a new way of life. So, more than being unhappy about his failure to find Oliver Lutkins, he was happy that he has come to know about the people of New Mullion, and he was excited. He feels that he has found a treasure. Treasure here means wealth. Wealth means wealth of human people. He had found such people who are good, kind-hearted, honest, happy, and he has discovered a new way of life. But if I did not think much about Lutkins, the office did. I found them all upset. Next morning, the case was coming up in the court, and they had to have Lutkins. I was the same fool, useless fool. Now, though he didn't think about Lutkins much about his failure, the office people they were waiting for Lutkins to come to the court the next day in which the case was to be heard. Next morning, the case was to be presented in the court, and in that case, they needed Lutkins. And the narrator found himself to be a useless fool because he could not serve summons to Lutkins. That morning, my promising legal career almost came to an end before it had begun. Now, promising means showing signs of future success. We all know that he had graduated in law, and this is his training period, he's just learning things, but in the future he can become a good lawyer. So he says that this failure promised me a failed legal career. It showed that I cannot be a good lawyer in future. The chief almost murdered me. He hinted that I might do well at digging ditches. I was ordered back to New Mullion, and with me went a man who had worked with Lutkins. Now the chief of the firm, the chief of the law firm, almost murdered him. Almost murdered him become, means that became very angry and scolded him, and he hinted that he is good at digging ditches. Digging means stealing, and ditches means a narrow channel which is meant to carry water, or we can say drain. So he is good at digging ditches, and he was sent back to New Mullion again. This time another person accompanies him, and this person had worked with Lutkins and he can identify Lutkins. I was rather sorry because it would prevent my loafing all over again with Bill. Loafing means spending idle time. Now, last in his last visit to New Mullion, he has spent time with Bill Magnuson, going to Waits Hill, having lunch, and this time he cannot do that because another person is accompanying him. When the train arrived at New Mullion, Bill was on the station platform near his cart. Strangely enough, that old tigress Lutkins' mother was there, talking and laughing with Bill, not quarreling at all. Now, when the train arrived at New Mullion, he can see Bill was on the station. Bill was near his cart, and strangely, Bill was uh, with Lutkins' mother, that old tigress. Lutkins' mother is considered as is compared to an old tigress because she is very frightening, she is very fearful, and both of them were laughing. The hackman and Oliver's mother, they were laughing, they were not quarreling. From the train steps, I pointed Bill out to my companion and said, "There's a fine fellow, a real man. I spent the day with him." So, from the train steps, the narrator showed Bill to his companion, that means partner, who was accompanied him to New Mullion, and said that this fellow, this person is a fine fellow, he's a real man. I spent the day, last time when I visited New Mullion, I spent the day with him. He is very kind hearted. He helped you hunt for Oliver Lutkins? Yes, he helped me a lot. And the person, the partner, he inquired, "Is this the person who helped you in hunting or searching Oliver Lutkins?" And the narrator replied, "Yes, he must have. He is Lutkins himself." So now the person reveals that this person, whom you are considering to be a kind-hearted fellow, who is who pretended to be Bill Magnuson, a hackman and a carter, is Oliver Lutkins himself. Now he has made a fool of the narrator, going all round with him in search of Oliver Lutkins. So he himself was Oliver Lutkins. What really hurt me was that when I served the summons, Lutkins and his mother laughed at me as though I were a bright boy of 7. Now, the narrator was deeply hurt by this because when he served the summons, both mother and son were laughing at him as if he is a 7 years old guy. Now we all know that he has been made a fool, and he is very hurt at that because he was considering that the people of village, they are very good, they are honest, they are simple, but opposite to that, now they make people fool also. With loving kindness they begged me to go with them to a neighbor's house for a cup of coffee. Now both the mother and the son asked him to go to a neighbor's house to have a cup of coffee. "I told them about you and they are anxious to look at you," said Lutkins joyfully. "They are about the only folks in the town that missed seeing you yesterday." Now, Oliver Lutkins is saying that this family is the only family who haven't seen you that day when you came to yesterday when you came to New Mullion. Everyone else have seen you. Now, these people are very eager to meet you or to look you. So here we come to the end of the chapter, and we come to know how the narrator was made a fool by Oliver Lutkins, and so the chapter is named after him. The central character of the chapter is Oliver Lutkins himself, who is the hack driver or a hackman.